which I'm going to play from my laptop. So you won't be able to hear to me now. All right.
This is Bridge. Today's podcast is on vowel sounds and minimal pairs. We will majorly focus on minimal pairs, understanding what are minimal pairs and why do we need to learn them. What are minimal pairs? According to general approach, minimal pairs are two items that differ in only one feature but have different meanings. Take these blue symbols, for example. They do have their meanings, where one property, marked white, would change their meanings. In phonology, minimal pairs are pairs of words which are particularly differing by one sound. For example, pet and bet. This pair is different with one sound, p in pet and b in bet. In this lesson, we will focus on words differing in single sound. Majorly, we will focus on sounds that may confuse you. Along with all this, we will also understand the manner of articulation of each vowel sound. International Phonetic Alphabet. IPA is a system for representing sounds with symbols. It helps us to pronounce a word correctly. Our focus in today's lesson is on the vowel sounds. We will understand four minimal pairs, and vowel sounds. Minimal pair. The first minimal pair is a long and a short vowel sound. Let's understand how to articulate both. In order to articulate the sound marked blue, my mouth is almost closed and lips are tensed and stretched. Observe and listen.
E, E,
Now repeat after me.
E, E,
In order to articulate the next sound marked blue, my mouth is almost closed and my lips are less tensed and less stretched. Observe and listen.
I, I,
Now repeat after me.
I, I.
It is at times difficult to tell the difference between a long and a short vowel sound we have just learned. All the words on the right of your screen have short vowel sound I, and all the words on the left of your screen have long vowel sound E. In each pair of examples, I will say the long vowel first. Listen carefully and repeat. Beach, bitch, sheet, shit. sheep, ship. Feet, fit. Steel, still.
So I think we stopped there, right? If I'm not wrong, let me know. Yeah. So yes, of course, we actually stopped at that point. So we were talking about pronunciation, and remember again, pronunciation is actually the most important criteria. It is because when you are using, you're speaking in English, or when you are producing, you know uh, a language, when you're pronouncing words, it's very important that you always take care of how you sound. And you should always sound appropriate, you should always sound perfect, you should always sound uh, I should say proper, right? So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about in the session. Now, one more thing I'm going to talk about in today's session about the pronunciation, and it's about the past form of the verbs, right? So, for example, let's say, for example, if I am writing something in the chat box, I'm just typing a word in the chat box. All right. For example, there is a verb like this one, and it says contacted. Now, an unusual thing that happens with all of us is we always pronounce the ed forms with ed at the end. So we always say contacted, right? Or maybe we always say something like completed, right? Or maybe we say something like let's say activated, right? So we always use the ed sound when we see the ed in the last, at the end of the word. And that's very usual with us. Do you agree? Yes. Do you agree that you also do the same thing? You also pronounce the same way? Yes. Let me know if you agree. Yeah. So that's one very common way of producing the pronunciation of the past forms. But now today I'm going to change that a bit with all of you. Uh, the past form is produced in in three different formats of pronunciation. So you always remember. First of all, let me just clarify this. This is going to be something very new that you will learn. It is going to change the way you actually use to speak the ed forms pronunciation, right? So it's actually going to change everything from the past, or whatever you have learned until now. Now, that's the way we actually pronounce when we are speaking in English. So we always say activated, or we always say contacted, or simply speaking, we say participated, right? We do that. I don't know how we do that. Maybe because that's how you have naturally learned it, or that's how you think that it's to be produced naturally. But it's not like that. The ed form pronunciation was never ed. वो ed तो कभी था ही नहीं. All right, let me repeat what I'm saying. It was never ever ed. Yes, it was something else. Now we need to understand what is that something. Now, one thing is very very clear, that it was never ed. The other thing is, there are three different types of pronunciation when you say ed or when you see ed, right, in a word. So we need to now check that what are these three pronunciation, right? So let me just play a video, and along with the video I'm gonna speak. So let's stick to it. All right, everyone, get ready with your pen and paper, and tell me once you're ready. I'm starting to share the screen. All right, so let's get going. So what I'm trying to talk about is I'm trying to talk about the errors that we come across when we are pronouncing the ed forms, and I'm going to talk about facts also, which is going to change everything that you've learned so far. Now, what is an error? First, let's identify the error. Let's say an example verb is educated. Now, the idea is how you pronounce the past form, right? Say, for example, you say he is well educated. So you say educated, right? So you always pronounce ed as ed. And that's very common. We all know about it. Now, the fact is, the past form pronunciation was never ed. There are three forms in the past pronunciation. So when a word ends in ed, you cannot say ed. It's incorrect. You can either say id, as you can see here in front of you, id, id, or you can say t in the end. See, now ed pronunciation is also t. See, this is something new. Or you can say duh. Now, I'm not going to teach you duh because duh is very common. It comes out of your, it comes out of from your heart. It comes out from your mind automatically. For example, words like loved, for example, learned, right? So that's okay. But now we need to understand when to say id and when to say ta, because this is very, very uncommon among us. Maybe uncommon because we don't know, or simply it's uncommon because we have not learned so far. So let's try to understand. So we'll first understand the id, ta, and da. So these are three types of pronunciation, right? Now listen to the sound. Now listen to the word when I'm speaking, all right? I cooked food today. I cooked. So tell me in the chat box, is it da, ta, or id? Tell me quickly. You can just write. If it is da, then you write da. If it is id, write id. Or if it is ta, write t. No, it's not. Now, Layla, it may be da for you, but you need to listen to me. I cooked food today. I cooked food today. Right? So it's ta, right? So it is not da, okay? Let's try some other words. Okay? So the ed pronunciation there was actually ta, and you got it right. Okay? You got all of you right. Now, why it is ta, we'll understand it later. Okay. Now let me speak this one, all right? Now you tell me what is the sound, okay? It smelled bad. It smelled bad. What do you think is the sound? Quickly in the chat box. Okay, there goes everyone. I don't know. Who is saying id? Dara is saying id. So Dara, was it smelled? No, it was not smelled. It was just smelled. Okay. Oh yeah, all right. It's okay. Let's continue further. Now listen to this one, and you tell me what it is, right? Is it da, ta, or id? I completed my work. I completed my work. So what was it? Yeah, it was id this time. Yes, Dara, it was id this time. So look at this now. See, I never said ed in any of the words, right? Whether it was cook, or complete, right? Or smell. I didn't say ed, or I did say duh in one of the, words, but in other two words, it was something new for you. The first one was this, completed, and the other one was cooked. So now we need to understand step by step. When is it id, when is it th, and when is it duh? But now, this is actually complex. So what I'm going to do is, I'm only going to touch one of them today. Okay? And we're going to talk about id. When is it id? कब हम verbs का जो last का ed form है उसको id pronounce कर सकते हैं. We're going to look at that. Okay? So, ready everyone? Because we're going to now jump into the rules and regulations. Right? And you might need your pens ready to note down a few things. Okay? And it is after that I will play the audio of this video also. All right? Okay. So let's start. Now, so we're going to talk about why did the sound change, okay? Or why the sound changes. Fine. So first we are looking at the id final sound, right? And it's what we are going to look at today. Fine. आज के दिन में हम सिर्फ ये एक ही sound करेंगे. Okay, id. So when is it id? So let me just show you when is it id. Okay. Remember one thing. Whenever the verbs past tense, simple verbs end in ta or da. Now, when I'm saying simple verbs, that means I'm not adding ed. For example, contact. So what is the last sound of the word contact? Is it ta or da? Quickly. Quickly. It's ta. Yeah. And maybe one more word. Decide. Okay. So what is the last sound of this word? Is it da or ta? It's da. Okay. Now we are not talking about past form. We are only talking about simple forms. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to ask all of you. Okay. Give me verbs. Okay. Action words. Only action words. Give me action words that ends in T sound without adding ed. Right? In its simple form. जब वो उसका खुद का form में है, तो उसमें T कब आता है? When you speak. So can I have some words? Eat. Okay. I have eat, but I cannot say eated, right? Because usko ed nahi lagega because it's an irregular verb. Only give me verbs which can carry ed at the end. Devashish. No. Cut will never carry cutted. Ed nahi hoga. Put ed nahi hoga. Irregular verbs. You're all giving me irregular verbs. Give me regular verbs. Treat. Good. Keval good. Treat. तो उसके आगे ed लगेगा. Nice. Act. Nice. Complete. Good. See, look at these words. Look at these bright words coming out of your mouth. Yeah, let's wait for some more words. Yeah, I'm just looking at these words. Okay, submit. Okay, all right. Create. I can see that. Okay, sweet. Oh, sweet. Do you think sweet is a verb? I don't think so. Baltic. Create. Yeah. Work is. But Monish. Work doesn't end in T or D. So all right. Anyways, let's go ahead. So. Now, tell me the verbs which end in D. You told me that you talked about the verbs which end in ta. Talk to me about the verbs which can end in D. I have given an example, decide. Okay. So give me some examples of verbs that ends in D in a simple form, okay, without adding ed. End. Good. Command. Nice. No, Ritik, you don't understand. I mean, Ritik, હું એવા verbs ની વાત કરું છું કે જી એના simple form માં T અને D sound માં end થશે, right? You are saying play. No, not play. Simple form. Yeah, got it. Good. Yes, give me more examples, guys. Found. Nice. Trend. Okay, but trend is not a verb. Okay, lend is good. Round is good. Abolished. No, Sneha, you're going wrong. Abolished is already a past form. I want a simple form with T or D sound. All right. Anyways, we have more examples, enough examples. Let's look at the rules. So what is it when it ends in T or D? Whenever the verb ends in T or D, उसका ed form है, उसको id बोलेंगे. We will never say it as ed. We will always say it as id. So look at this. Look at these words. Visited, participated, not visited or participated. Both are ending in T sound, all right, in its simple form. So its past form will be id. Okay? So it's visited, right? So for example, I visited my grandmother yesterday. Visited. You cannot say visited. No. I participated in a competition. You cannot say participated. No. So that was one example where the words were ending in T. Now, in these two words, the simple form of a verb ends in D sound. So the ed past form will carry id. So now it's not decided, it's decided. Now it's not flooded, it's flooded. So for example, I decided to go out. Right. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? For example, she flooded the room with the light. Got that? So look at this. Completed, avoided, provided, submitted, prohibited. Okay, got that? Right. Do you understand? Yes, all of you? Do you understand this? Just what you saw before a few minutes and just what we talked about? Right. So now let me do one thing. Let me now play the video so that you will also listen to it. So it's going to be a kind of a revision for you. I'm going to now change the audio setting. You will not be able to now listen to me, but I will be able to look at your chat box messages if you have any doubts. So let's watch the video.
Hey everyone, welcome to English Engager. This is Bridge. Today's podcast is on the past tense verbs pronunciation in English. In today's lesson, we will focus on the common errors and facts related to the past tense verbs pronunciation. Common error. The one common error we tend to come across while pronouncing the past tense verbs is here in the example of the past tense verb educated, as in he is well educated. The ed ending of this verb is generally pronounced ed. Fact. The past tense verbs pronunciation with the ed ending are pronounced in three different ways: id, t, or d. For example, if I say the past tense verb cooked, as in I cooked food today, what is the last sound that you hear in the word cooked? The ed verb ending sounds like a t. Cooked. What do you hear when I say smelled, as in it smelled bad? The ed verb ending sounds like a d. And when I say completed, as in I completed my work, the ed verb ending sounds like id. This lesson teaches the three rules for why the sound changes in the ed endings of past tense verbs. Id, final sound. Past tense verbs ending in sounds t or d will cause the ed ending of the verbs to be pronounced as id. Listen and repeat. Visited, participated. These verbs end in t sound in its simple form, so the ed endings of these verbs is pronounced id, as in I visited my grandmother yesterday. Visited. I participated in a competition. Participated. Listen and repeat. Decided. Flooded. These verbs end in d sound in its simple form, so the ed endings of these verbs is pronounced id, as in I decided to go out. Decided. She flooded the room with light. Flooded. Now, listen and repeat. Completed. Avoided. Provided. Submitted. Prohibited. All these verbs end in t or d sound in its simple form, so the ed ending of these verbs is pronounced id. T and d.
So I think it's very much clear for everyone now. Yes? Let me know yes in the chat box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put up a slide in front of you and I will leave it for a few seconds. All right. And I just want you to observe the first part, the ed part, right? Id part, T and D, not the t and d part, because we have not checked that out yet. Okay. So just the first part. Okay. Quickly. So I hope I have now clarified at least one way or one of the ways of producing this particular, sound. So now for you, it's not ed, okay? It's id, at least for T and D, at least for words which are ending in T and D. So now words like submit, it's not submitted, it's submitted, right? Maybe words like act, so it's not acted, it's acted. All right. I mean, that's the actual pronunciation. And remember, when I'm teaching you pronunciation, I'm not teaching you accent. Okay. I'm not teaching you how to speak in American accent, or I'm not teaching you how to speak in British accent. I am actually teaching you pronunciation, sounds. That's it. That's what I'm teaching you here. Okay. So maybe words like complete. So you cannot say completed, you say completed. Maybe words like create. So you don't say created, you say created. Okay. Maybe a few other words like attend. So you don't say attended, you say attended, right? Now the question is, sir, what if others are saying ed? Well, teach them. That's what you do. When you learn new things, you teach others too, right? So try to, tell others, try to explain others. And when when you teach something, what you learned, that something that you learned is going to be imprinted in your mind, right? And after you teach it to someone, you will never forget it, right? So this English, it's not this English, Chisola, it's not this English, it's actually just English. Wherever you go, it's the same English that you will learn and you will focus on, right? So that's what you do in English, and that's what you learn in English. All right. So I think we will end this session today a little early, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes earlier, just because, I don't want you to get overburdened after this one session of pronunciation, because pronunciation is very much in detail. So I don't want to even teach you another way of, producing the ed sounds. So let's end the session for today at least, and yeah, maybe we will have the next session a little longer than expected, and you all can just stay with me for a little longer, and we'll find a way out of it. So I hope the session helped you all, and yeah, I think thank you so much for being with me and attending this session. And yeah, we met after a long time, so thank you everyone, and thank you so very much. Oh, I've got your presence, Leila, because you are all on Meet attendance. So I already have your Excel sheet with me. No need to worry about that. Okay, everyone, you may start leaving the room, and I'm going to end the session now. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your presence, and thank you for your participation. And that's it. Thank you.